Training for your next big race and not sure about your nutrition? Well, Precision Fuel and Hydration are sponsoring the show this month, and their free online planner has you covered. It calculates exactly how much carbs, sodium and fluid you need to smash your goals. Me and the team at Inside Running Podcast swear by the 90 gram resealable gel to have on our long runs. It's been a game changer for us. If you want to crush your race day strategy, hit the link in the show notes, try the planner and grab 15% off your first order with the code IR-SPRING2025. That's IR-SPRING2025. Hit the link, grab your discount and crush those goals. Now on to the episode.
That your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 400 of the Inside Running Podcast. A massive thank you for being with us for another week. It's a big show. We got a lot to talk about. We've got Faith Kipyegon, her attempt in Paris to talk about, trying to break 4, Ostrava Golden Spike athletics meet over in Ostrava. What country is that, Crooks?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic, thank you. Get back to introducing you in a second. The Sandown Relays happened. Sydney Marathon with a big announcement of some superstars going to be running their marathon in August. Listen to Question, Whispers, Moose on the Loose for the 400th time. Welcome to you, Brad Croker, up there in Canberra.
Thanks, Brady, and welcome back. Congratulations on reaching 400 episodes. Just a shame that your girl Faith couldn't break 4 minutes for our 400th episode.
Oh, would have had some good vibes about that, wouldn't it, Croak? Some good symmetry.
Yeah, you'd be real up and about. But I am looking forward to hearing about your trip. I think you are the star of the show, and I think you should recap your week first.
I got some stories, boys. I got some real stories. Our other co-host, though, he went to the 19. Told a few people that over the week in Paris, Croaks, that I'm co-host of a guy who went to the World Champs back in 2019 in Doha. Julian Spence, how are you this week?
Good. But yeah, that's how you get your cred over there. You just drop my name around the Nike folk, like big shoe dog over there. Talked to a few of the executives, didn't you?
One of the ladies actually asked me, she's like, are you on the same podcast as Julian Spence? And I'm like, yeah. And then I asked you if you knew her, and you're like, nah, never heard of her.
That's not true. That's not true. I had heard of her.
Hey, Brady, how were your so Moose was sending through some questions for you to ask. How were they received? Because some of them may be seen as slightly controversial.
I altered a few of them before I delivered them. It's an interesting setup when you're over there. Before we go into just general chat, I do want to acknowledge how good Izzy Bat Doyle was on last week's episode and listening to her. It's really good when someone brings receipts and can join in on the banter. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to that on my way to the airport on Tuesday. And I do want to set the record straight that I did not supply any of the whispers last week. So running along and Moose like, oh yeah, Brady sent this whisper in. I'm like, this is bullshit. I didn't send that in at all. So just trying to ruin relationships for me, Moose. But anyway, that was a good listen, and I enjoyed both you guys chatting with her and the Ed Marks interview as well, Croak. So well done there.
Thanks, Brady.
It was good. Opened up a bit about him that we don't think we'd ever hear without you, Croaks.
Very green, isn't he?
Very green, very modest.
For a guy at that level, I thought he would sort of he's got his shit sorted, but just lacks a bit of direction. So hopefully, I know somebody takes him under their wing and can get him to where he deserves to be.
Yeah, for sure. Even his stuff about like not wanting to run a half marathon because he'd have to start worrying about like hydration and gels and that. I'm like, mate, you're finished before that kicks in.
Yeah,
You're a 600 guy on debut.
Get him on the start line of Gold Coast this weekend, and I reckon he's doing all right.
Yeah. So that was good. But yeah, good trip. And like back to that, is asking questions. It's I'm not sure what it was like when you went with Nike last year, Moose, but like it's big brand stuff, isn't it? Like they're one of the, I guess, global leaders in sportswear. And
if not the biggest sportswear company in the world, yeah.
And you get to see firsthand like their systems and processes around how they treat the media. And like you've got 2 questions or you've got 2.5 minutes with this person. Like it's very structured, thorough. And you're talking to people that would have hundreds of hours of media training. So it's completely different to some of the stuff we do on here where it's a 60 or 70 minute interview with someone who's, trying to break through like an Ed Marks kind of thing. These guys are in, and they were in front of media all day. And it was just, we were in the group of like Australia and then Asia and then Latin America. So we would go into these like small interviews and you'd get, say, 2 questions from Australia. So like you're sitting there with the other 4 people that went from Australia trying to brainstorm what our best 2 questions would be for Elliot Kipchoge or Faith Kipyegon or Elliot Heath, Moose, your mate. So it's very, very different than what we kind of do. And you really want to make your questions hit home and be something different. A, so the person can give you a different answer. They're not sitting there bored, spitting out the same stuff all day. But B, to try and actually get some good content out of it. So yeah, a good insight into some of the biggest names, I guess, Faith Kipyegon and Elliot Kipchoge in the world.
Brady, did you have to submit your questions before asking? And the reason I ask that is I do feel like these events are very much like obviously pro Nike, pump up Nike, whereas I feel like our podcast, like we call a spade, and it's like, a question for Faith Kipyegon could have been like, what makes you think that you can break 4 minutes for the mile when your 800 meter time is nowhere near ballpark fast enough to get close to 4 minutes? But then they wouldn't like that question.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So when we did talk to Faith, we that was not the second part of that question, but the first part. Like, what did you do in training that indicated that you were ready to try and break 4 minutes for the mile? And she said she did 8x400s in 62 off small recovery, which I guess would be at altitude, probably on that dirt track they train on. And you got to remember, these people, like, it's English as their second language. So the answers aren't quite that deep and they're in front of media the whole day kind of thing. So we were actually stoked that she gave us, I was like, we need splits, like really, because a lot of the answers were around like, mentality. I was daring to dream. I wanted to, there were certain themes that you could tell were,
no human is limited.
No human is limited. I did like your comment on my Strava, Moose. What was it?
Yeah.
No jockey size
bogan
is limited. But yeah, so you're trying to get stuff that kind of breaks through. And yeah, you're there, like you're an invited media partner for Nike as well. You're not an independent journalist. So that's probably you're there as kind of their guest. So you want to cover the event in the most rounded way as possible. But tonight, this is like, and we'll do an episode. We've got an standalone episode planned talking about like Faith Kipyegon and breaking 4 minutes that will come out later in the week. Whereas tonight, they've given me no restrictions on that whatsoever. It's like you do an editorial of what you kind of think. But tonight, talking to you guys, we'll get probably more into the splits and why it failed in the end to break that time.
Well, talk us through your week, Brady. I think that's the most interesting week out of the 3 of us.
I've been away for 2 weeks, so I just made some jot points now of just like 5 things that have happened of significance over the 2 weeks, instead of just recapping like just boring boring jogs and things like that. So can I take you back to like Tuesday a week ago? I did some lab testing, boys. I went over to Fed University. I met Jason Rossi over there from Road to Ballarat fame, and Ryan Warren did the lab testing. So he'd been talking to Dan Nash, which was good. 2 exercise physiologists chatting to each other. I'm sure it's a very scientific kind of chat. So they got me doing 2 tests. So I did the threshold test first. So for this, we did 4-minute blocks. And after every 4 minutes, they pricked the finger. So I've never had the finger pricked before. and they wipe away the first bit of blood so it doesn't get contaminated. Moose, is that right? And then they push for more blood, and then you go again. So we did 4 minutes starting at 16k an hour, then 17, 17.5, 18, 18.5, 19, 19.5, and then 20 minutes. Which 4 minutes at 20k an hour was quite a test for me because that's 3 minute K pace. And I don't know if I'm that quite fit at the moment. And after every one, they would test the lactate to get a score. And
can you tell us what your lactates were for each of those levels?
Yes, I can. I just got to open the email.
Did you have the mask on too? Were they testing oxygen?
Yeah. How annoying is that mask?
Yeah.
Because the studies that I did at the institute, they used to keep going up in speed until you hit about 4 millimole, and then they stop, and then they do the max test. Where I'm guessing you would have been well above 4 at 20k an hour.
Yeah, so I was 1.8 for 16k an hour. I'll just do every k an hour, hey, not the half ones. Then I was 2.1 for 17k an hour, 2.3 for 18k an hour, 3.6 for 19k an hour, and then 6.6 for 20k an hour.
Yeah.
Now, do these numbers make sense to you? Because when I got them sent to me, I'm just like, Dan was in the email. I'm like, I don't really need to pay too much attention to this stuff.
Yeah, well, it sounds like because at 19k an hour, you're still under 4, whereas I think back when I was doing the studies, I used to see that as being like the second threshold. And at that point, you're obviously, starting to accumulate high levels of lactate. And so because you're at 3 point something at 19, they're like, okay, well, let's go another one. And then
push it over the
obviously
edge.
It really spiked between 19 and 20.
Yeah. So then in the summary, like I got threshold 1 and threshold 2. So it said like threshold 1 is likely occurred at 79.96% of max, and threshold 2 occurred at 83.88% of max. That'd be heart rate too, wouldn't it?
Max heart rate, yeah.
Yeah, is that what that means? Yeah. So then because that was pretty decent workout doing all those 4 minute reps. So then got off, like had a bit of time, and then jogged again, and then they took my lactate after like doing a little like warm-up jog again to make sure it was low enough to start the VO2 max, and then did a VO2 max. I have done one in the past where they keep putting the incline up, but this was just pace. So we started at 18k an hour, and then every minute it went up 1k an hour. And this treadmill, like it was one of those real wide ones and stuff, and you're strapped in, it would change like instantly. So when it went from 17 to 18k an hour, it was like you had to almost surge and then like settle into that rhythm. So I did that up to, I've got the results sitting in front of me, 6.5 minutes. So it was like halfway through 24k an hour, and that's like 230k pace. Like I just can't run that fast anymore. I didn't have like the speed. I felt all right, maybe aerobically, but I just couldn't stay on the thing.
Your VO max you can't go above it. Like once you hit it and it stops increasing, like there's no point. You can keep getting faster, but it's not helping. Like you're not getting any data from it.
Okay.
So they'll stop you earlier than that.
Okay.
So what was your actual VO2 max?
Yeah, listen to this. Brady's VO2 max is impressive, especially as a 37-year-old with a marathon background in recent years. Oh, actually, I need to find the number, though, don't I?
70 what?
If we don't give a fuck about that, mate, just tell us the number.
Hang on.
How about they've given him a little...
Here.
What's with the pump up?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be scientists. Not bloody
no,
cheerleaders.
The boys have gone back and forth with a little summary. That's how thorough these guys are. 77.2.
Wow.
That's good.
With a max heart rate of 181.
What's your Garmin say for your VO2 max?
72. Actually, no, I think it's 71, but the highest I've seen is 72.
Yeah.
It's good. 77.
So, yeah, I think it's good, but they've quickly identified I should be running a bit quicker.
Oh, I was about to say, all this is confirming is underperforming.
Underperformance, yeah. So that's all right, though. The boss has got the numbers. We just get on the treadmill, do the tests, and then go to Paris for a week and hardly run. So that was the first thing. I had fun. I wanted to tell you about that, got some data. The second thing, I had some company on my long run. So the Sunday before I went, I had Olympian Ali Pashley in town, Moose. She was up in Echuca-Moama visiting some family.
Up there for a side run.
She was up there. It was good. Yeah, side run. Did she let you know, Moose, that she was meeting in another spot than the group?
Yeah. No, didn't hear that, actually.
She's fit too. Had a baby 12 weeks ago, and then she's rolling 4:15K pace.
Can tell you she's not fit.
20 minutes
I ran
into
with
the
her
long run.
yesterday.
I had to ask her to slow down. She's like chatting along at 4:15s. I'm like, Ellie, you're too fit for me. So a bit of a watch on her for the back end of 2025. So that was a highlight of my time since I've been away. Another thing, boys, treadmill workouts. You know those old Stride foot pods we had?
Yep.
No.
Use them on the treadmill. Gives you way more accurate data. So I know that's been coming up a bit over the last you interviewed that guy, remember, Moose? The boulder guy.
Oh, yeah.
Real early days. I had to dig. I had to find it. I'm like, where is this thing? I put it on my shoe, reconnected it.
The power guy.
Yeah.
Power guy. What was his name?
Eric? Was it Eric?
No, it wasn't Eric.
It was really early days in the podcasting.
I remember I went for a run with him in Boulder.
Evan. No, you and Evan? Evan Schwartz?
Yes.
Something like that? Yeah.
Yep,
anyway,
that's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Evan, for hooking us up with those foot pods back in 2017. My one finally got a workout on the treadmill, so that's given me more accurate data. And then before I went to Paris, so my Paris week was just a write-off training wise, but I did get in a workout before I went. These guys in Bendigo, the Chalky Milk Run Club, 5:30 a.m. meet, boys. That's blue collar for you. 5:30 a.m. Got down there with Ben, Sean, Rory, Daz. Did 8x1Ks in the dark, about 3:12 pace average, and then headed off to the airport. And that day was the day when Iran, I think, bombed a US base in Qatar, and like all the Qatar Airlines flights were grounded. So I had to drive to the airport thinking it was going to be a shit show, but it wasn't too bad. So we went Melbourne, Singapore, and then Singapore, Paris. Arrived in Paris at 5:50 a.m. and then I think we had to meet at 8 a.m. for a full day of like media stuff. So they got us to work pretty quick, Moose.
You know what though? You were lying down on the plane, so I'm not going to hear any of this fucking complaining.
Yeah, I was. Business class is very nice, but it's still a long way to travel. You forget how far Australia is away. I do not want to come across as someone who's whinging about traveling in business class. And yes, it's good, but it's still very taxing on the body.
What do you eat? What do you eat on the plane, mate?
Oh, some good food, some good drinks. And it wasn't too bad. So the first flight we flew throughout the day, and then we had the longer flight throughout the night. And that was Air France. So I hadn't been on Air France before. Qantas better than Air France, so I'm going to say. I watched that White Lotus TV show. You guys watch that?
No, I haven't.
Easy plane viewing. Yeah, so that was good. Another run I want to tell you about, I went on my first run crew run. So one of the things in our itinerary was a run with this big Paris run crew. It's called 8 Lines. They had whistles, they had flags. I was getting hit by the big 8 Lines flag when we were running. There was this guy riding an e-bike with a full-on speaker strapped to his back, and he was riding along. We're running down these skinny streets. If you've ever been to Paris before, you know what I'm talking about. All these one-lane roads, just at traffic. Traffic stopping. We're running down here. If you did that in Australia, you'd end up in a body bag. People just drive through you. It was so far from what I've ever experienced being on a run before. The energy, they're all good looking, people taking their shirts off. It was next level different to what I'm used to here at Chukamoama. But I just embraced it. I knew you'd absolutely hate it, Croaks. You would have been this isn't running, fuck this, a lot of carry on. But it felt more like it was a music festival or I wasn't on a run. We averaged 6-10K pace for 30 minutes. A lot of stop starting. At one stage we stopped at a traffic light and they're chanting, they're Breaking4, Breaking4. When we got back to the Nike thing, they're everyone's dancing around in circles. It was high energy.
I saw the story on Tempo Journal and it looked terrible.
Yeah, but you just got to disassociate that with what you already know about running. You just got to be this is a different world, and you got to embrace the new world.
But this is the stuff that every second week Moose is banging on about, how this is not necessarily good for the sport. And there you are, embracing it.
Front and center. I thought about winning it. I was I reckon I can smash, because there's 150 people in this run. And then I just
did you enjoy it, Brady? That run?
I enjoyed it as if this is a new experience. I didn't enjoy it as this is my run for the day, because I would have preferred to like not do the stretching and the little dancing and stuff at the start and just actually get going. But I enjoyed it to be able to say I've run through Paris with 150 other people with this music blaring. Like the music would hurt my ears. And I can tick that off my bucket list of things I've done. Definitely.
You still got the Nike hat on, Moose.
Definitely. No, this wasn't even that Nike stuff.
Brady.
It was just in the itinerary, Crooks. It was just in the itinerary. But yeah, completely over the top. But that they want to be over the top. That's their vibe. It's like we're going to be over the top. So then the last thing I want to tell you about running wise while I was over there, I went to that athletics track that has the Eiffel Tower in the background. So like I'd done nothing for like 3 days, like 20-minute, half an hour runs. And then I'm like, someone said, we spoke to those guys from the run crew and they said that track was open to the public. So me and then like three of the 5 people who were there from Australia, actually, we all ran to the track. That was like Mac, Izzy, Luke, and then did a workout. I was feeling shocking as well, boys, like late nights, jet lag, like probably drinking way too much alcohol, just big dinners, things like that. Like you're not feeling real good. So I was just like, and Dan just gave me like a do what you can do kind of thing, fit it in. So I thought I'll do 12 400s off 30 seconds, do them at like threshold pace, like 72, 74, just get something of some kind of quality in. Didn't have much time to be at the track. We had to jog back. It was like 5K away. So I punched the first rep, boys, in 63. And very quickly, I thought something is up here. I do not feel good. And then I continued to do the other 11 in between 58 and 63. And then I pretty quickly realised that this track isn't 400 metres. So there's an athletics track in the middle of Paris, a block from the Eiffel Tower, that must be like 350 metres. And anyone can access it. You just walk in there and they got this big office you have to walk through. And I'm like, in Australia, you would get like kicked out of there, or there'd be gates up or things in lane 1 saying don't train here, but you just walk straight in there and they say good morning and then, or bonjour, and then, But why do they make tracks that aren't 400?
We experienced the same thing when I was over there watching the World Champs in 2003. Like near where we were staying, there was a track, but we had to put like hats and shirts. Like we actually had to get out and try and measure it because we knew that the track wasn't 400 metres around. It is bizarre, but I suppose it's still even if it's not 400, it's still like a really nice surface to be able to run on. And if you can actually measure the reps, then I think it's fine.
Yeah. And there were some like different lines on the track. I'm sure there was like a 300 metre line or something like that I would have been able to figure out if I really wanted to do a workout on. But yeah, pretty cool though. Like the Eiffel Tower is literally like, in the background. Like you look up during your reps and you're like, that's a kind of once in a lifetime opportunity seeing that.
It doesn't really matter how far it is. Like you're just doing the same workout. It's just those paces don't mean anything. Like you're running 70 seconds or 64 seconds or whatever. It's the effort, I guess, you're working
Especially if you're doing it to heart rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. You know, when you go to track mode and then you can't see, you know, when you change your modes on a watch, you can't see. It changes all the settings.
Yeah, you got to redo them again.
That's annoying, isn't it? Like treadmill, outdoor, and then track. Like it'd be great if they all just had the same. Hey, you decided to set this as your outdoor screen. We're going to do the same thing for the other ones.
Yeah,
but that's all right. So that was my five things of note. But I meant to run a half marathon this weekend, and I feel shocking. Could be a real bad run. And back to school, like we had parent teacher interviews today, so I went from talking to like Faith Kipyegon and Elliot Kipchoge like 48 hours ago to little Gary's mum about how he's going in reading and writing.
You got Garys that are kids in Echuca.
No, I just made that up because I didn't want to give away a kid's name in my class. Of course, I don't have a Gary.
Kid called Gary's awesome.
Do you want to talk about the Faith sub-4 now, or do you want to do it during running news?
No, we can do it now. May as well do it now. What do you want? You want to talk about performance-wise?
No, talk about
splits here.
No, talk about, I guess, your experience being at the track.
Oh, so the track was decked out. Like I've seen that many swooshes over the last 5 days, boys. I'm going to be dreaming of swooshes in my dreams for the next couple of weeks because their marketing absolutely brilliant. What about that purple as well? That purple and orange, kind of like colorway, that was everywhere. So we got on a bus from the hotel Paris traffic is so bad. Like, takes you forever to get anywhere with all those like one-way streets. And yeah, got out to the track probably an hour and a half early, and then they kind of set us up in this hospitality kind of suite where you got free beers, free wines, free food, with all the other kind of media partners and mingling there. And then they set kind of two little stands up on, I don't think they were quite in lane 8, but pretty much like on lane 8 and then backwards. And then we got an email during the day that day to kind of say what seat number you were on. So you got allocated a kind of seat. And then, you rolled in there probably like half an hour before, or when the show started on TV, which was really weird because there was no real volume from that show that you could actually sit there and listen to it. And their backs were to where we were sitting, which I did go back and watch a bit of that show. And it was, I don't know if they got a pitch to, every man and their dog kind of thing. It was very broad. And even like Carl Lewis, like I thought they might have had I know they had Keely Hodgkinson there, but Carl Lewis was a weird person to put up on the stage to talk about a miler, but I guess he's broken barriers before in the sprints. So it was kind of like this weird half an hour where you could kind of hear what they were saying. You were already allocated your seat. And then the introduction to, this is what the stream didn't do that well, the introduction to all the paces and how like they were, this guy's a Olympic champion, a bronze medalist or whatever, like welcome Grant Fisher, and they had this like epic music coming. So he'd run out and all these other people ran out and they kind of all lined up behind Faith, and then they all like went off and did a stride together. And then it felt like it was like 20 seconds later, they were all just standing on the start line. And the first 100 meters looked so awkward. Like everyone trying to get in position. And if you split it, she went through 100 in like 14 seconds. Like I think they went a bit too fast. Like there was a bit of like anxious kind of energy. You want to get in position. And was there 11 paces in total? You had the two girls, so like Georgia Hunter Bell and Gemma Reiki. And then they were kind of behind her. And then you kind of had another couple of Kenyan blokes behind her. And then Stewie and Grant were in that. They kind of called it what word did the guy use?
Wingman. It was almost like they were the right wingman. They're just on her shoulder, basically.
Yeah. So they picked out Grant. So he was in that position intentionally. And I've got some audio that will come out later in the week with Brett Kirby, who's the scientist who was in charge of the whole like project. And we asked him like, why did the pacing change? Because in the documentary, it was only meant to be 5 people, and then they changed it to like 11. He kind of speaks about all that. But Stewie and Grant were kind of in that core 5 that were always meant to be around her. And then I thought her splits were pretty good. So like it was on until at the bell. She went, this annoyed me as well. They gave us lap splits, not splits at the finish line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's
like lap 1, lap 2, lap 3.
9 meters before, which is, I like that because you're getting what she's run for 400, what she's run for 800, not what she's run for 409, 809.
Nah, but usually don't they go 409 and then 400, 400?
I don't know.
I think Donve goes that way. When I watched
quite like having the 400 splits though.
Yeah, when I watched her world record, I reckon it was that other way. But that threw me a bit. But her lap splits were 60.2. And then she went through 2 laps in 2 flat 0.75, got to the bell at 301.8, and knowing how hard she can close. Like I was sitting next to Luke, who's a journalist from the Financial Review. I'm like, this is where she wants to be. She can close. This is a great time for her to have at the bell, but she looked terrible. I'm like, time looks amazing. The way she looks does not. Like she's not going to run this time today. And she kind of faded over that last lap. Wasn't it like a 65 or something to run 406.42, which was rounded down. So they went off flying time, not gun time. So they took away the difference in her reaction time to when she started running, not when the gun went off.
That is the final terrible. Time. That is terrible. Any athletics event goes.
First time it's happened in an athletics event. Steve Magnus was tweeting that.
That is.
Could you imagine if she ran 4 flat 0.3 and then they round it down to 359.9?
Well, they would, They would.
They can. It's their event. So it's like they wanted to know how fast it was going to take her to run a mile. Not.
But any other running event is from when the gun goes to when you cross the finish line.
Yeah, but this wasn't any other run event, folks. This was an exhibition race. They did create a bit of confusion there. They're like, hang on, how was that? And then, you kind of were saying some stuff the next day about what was on the line and stuff. Because initially I was just like, yeah, that happens with sprinting all the time. But I was like, no, it doesn't happen when they take that much time off.
What was the vibe like after she'd crossed the line? Obviously, for the cameras and everything, they're all still up and about. All the male pacemakers are, clapping and good on your Faith, great job. But really, her world record run was better than that because she ran the last 700-800 on her own without any of this other sort of technology and 11 paces around her.
Yeah, and closed really fast when she ran that world record. It was a different kind of race. I can only talk from I actually have got some audio of me talking into my phone as I'm watching the race, and I'll kind of cut it together. So you'll hear that. But I was like, this is a weird vibe. It was almost it's a lot of innovation and money spent to find a second. So people weren't sure and I think as it went on further, it changed to that was pretty cool that she went for it. I think she could have maybe tried to run 4:04 and then find a second in the last lap and run 4:03. But they literally went to, we're going to try to run 3:59. She blew up, and then it was there was a bit more respect in that. And they kept using the language dare to dream. So try to bite these things off and chew like crazy to try to take a swing at it. So then we rolled into the press conference. So that was all press there. And when they got introduced, so they had a panel of 5 or 6. So it was Faith, obviously, Patrick Sang, her coach, Valentine, their manager. He's him, he's always on the bike next to Kipchoge and stuff. He's if you've seen a picture of him, you'd know him. Amy, one of the girls who did the design innovation stuff, and then Brett, the scientist as well. And it was I thought it was a bit kind of icy early in the press conference. You're just is this a failure? Is it a success because you took on something hard and that shows that in life you need to take on things hard? And then as it went, she got Faith got a lot more relaxed, and the questions were all very positive around trying something difficult that didn't pull off. And then we rolled out to the warm-up track, and all the big boys were doing a workout. And then we saw Stewie, called him over, had a bit of a chat with Stewie. He was happy to see some Australians.
In the middle of his workout.
He did a threshold. Yeah. He did a threshold, and all the other guys were smacking 300-meter reps. So they were.
That footage was pretty cool of those boys. I did love that aspect as well, that here's all these guys from all different countries, all different groups working together to help Faith, but also then after the race, helping each other to train.
Yeah. They're from different parts of the world and stuff, and all pretty big names in their own right.
What did you think about the fact that the pacemakers were all basically men, and that the two ladies played no real part towards the front of the race, that they did use the two pacemakers? Because in my opinion, it would have been, the race is illegal anyway, but you could have had plenty of women get out there and pace her if you traded the laps off. So if you had them start at multiple spots around the stadium, around the track, and just blended their women around, I reckon that would have been so much more powerful as a display of sort of celebrating a woman going for something that no woman has ever done. And it's the same conversation as why were there male pacemakers at the after dark half marathon in Sydney. I just felt like they could have easily done that. There's tons of women out there that can run that fast and pace Faith.
It'd get messy though, wouldn't it? People going in and out. The continuity of having the men the whole way, the same men the whole way. I didn't really get why, because they kept that very quiet, so you didn't know what was happening. A couple of those pacers put some stuff on their own social media, and you're like, oh, Stewie's here. Oh, Grant Fisher's in Paris, or Craig Engels has put something that he's in Paris. But that was never they never like disclosed the pacing plan. And I'm not if that's sure they didn't want attention on the male pacers. They're just like, we'll bring them out at the last minute. They'll do their thing. We'll get them out of here. Or yeah, like, but in saying that, like, if Breaking4 was the big goal, like, why not just get a motorbike that's got a windshield on the front of it and then just sit behind that? Like a, you know what I mean? Like a little car, like a little golf buggy to just,
I guess there's
they could have done the same thing.
There must just be limits to how much they want to turn it into a spectacle versus keeping some integrity in there.
Yeah. And we probably saw that with the spikes as well.
Well, the fact that they've gone for reaction time versus gun time's already taken a little bit of that integrity out of the event.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I thought I think there was some science to why they had paces at the back as well, because it looked weird having these girls like jumping on the back, and there was some guys on the back as there as well. So I've never seen paces incorporated as like from behind. But I thought there was too many. I thought, and it looked messy. And then the guys stayed, like the front group stayed on that 4-minute pace when she was dropping off. So then they were kind of like dropping her, and then the core group stayed around her, and then people were like dropping out 2 laps in, and yeah.
It almost looked as well, Brady, that there was nobody immediately in front of her. Like they did give her like a fair bit of space. Like there was obviously a runner in lane 1 in front of her, but not right in front. Did you notice that?
Yeah. And then, this guy, Brett, he also spoke about, was it Elliot Giles? Like his job was to just be at the front, kind of just pretty much just sticking to the wave lights, not really worrying about who was around him kind of thing. So they kind of all had different roles. But you could see how concerned, like in the audio that I took while the race was going, I just mentioned a few times, I'm like, look at Grant Fisher. Like his head was just wobbling. Like he just constantly, you could tell something was up because he was checking in on her every 2 or 3 seconds. It didn't look smooth, and he was just relaxed. He's like, and then I spoke to Stewie, and he was like, in that last lap, you could see him talking to her and waving his arm because they knew the last wave light was her previous, or is her world record. So they're like, we got to get under that that's the worst case scenario, that we don't break that time. So yeah, good trip. Got to talk to some good people. Don't know what else. You got to try some new shoes, Moose. Vimero Plus and the Vimero Premium.
Bring one home with you?
The Plus I did. No one was going home with the Premium though.
Yeah. Bree. I'm not sure how much I can say.
She got one. I tried one on, but it was size 10, 2 sizes too big for me, but went for a run in it. Gave it a bit of a test out.
Who else did you get to talk to, Brady? Any other big names, like any of the other male pacers, or Patrick Sang, or Keely Hodgkinson?
The pacers weren't available, so like they weren't. Yeah, we got to talk to Stewie just because we yelled out to him and he heard an Aussie accent and came over. But no, they weren't put up as any of like the presentations or anything like that. Keely Hodgkinson and the 2 other girls, Georgia Bell and Gemma Reiki, like they did a presentation one day, but that was to the whole group. Who else was there? We got those small group chats with Kipchoge, Faith Kipyegon, shoe tech guys. So a couple of people around like the Vimero, Elliot Heathmoose. We got a small one with him. I think that's about it. Off the top of my head. Alex Hutchinson, the journo from Canada. Got to talk to him. He was pretty cool to talk to. He's run a 4-minute mile too, hasn't he, in his day? Spent some time in you, Croaks. It's always a worry, Moose, when people know Croaks.
Was he upset though? What did he do? What did Croaks do to his girlfriend?
Knew Croaks' ex-girlfriend. No, he didn't say that, but Croaks did remind me in the group chat that Croaks' ex-girlfriend knew Alex Hutchinson back in the day. Yes. So yeah, he knew a lot about Australian running, which was good.
Yeah, we spent a fair bit of time in Canberra.
Yeah. So that was that. That's probably, and yeah, you'll hear later in the week, we've got a standalone episode, so I don't want to tell too many stories because Zach and I have a plan for this episode that's going to come out later in the week.
So how do we look at it as I look at the sub 2 attempt, and although Kipchoge didn't break 2 on the first attempt, it was a massive jump from where the current world record had been. And off the back of that, they then started selling these new super shoes, the 4%. Whereas, I don't feel like what Faith did, yeah, she's running these brand new spikes that weigh nothing, but I don't think people are going to be wanting to run in those spikes like people wanted to run in the 4% super shoe after what Kipchoge did at Monza.
Yeah, valid point. Like, I'm not sure, yeah. Or people aren't buying the bodysuit because I'm not even sure if that will be available. You know more about this stuff, Moose. How does it come through to retail? Or is it just a brand awareness thing? Is that what it was?
A lot of what Nike are working at is just getting that reputation back in running and being the leader in innovation. So being the brand that everyone else is trying to catch. And so I think that's part of this big push to sort of be recognized as the future of the sport and being one step ahead of the game. And yeah, so this, like, they did have a commercial play with this, like the Faith Kipyegon pack, which was the colorways, like the purple and what is it, orange? You said purple, black,
Yeah, a bit
orange.
of purple, a bit of black. Yeah,
yeah. I think it's mainly purple and black. But it so they had we got spikes, we got Peg 41, Peg Premium, Peg Plus, Alpha Fly, and they're actually really cool color. And a lot of people, like the people that have purchased it, have been buying it because of the event, not just because it's a nice purple color. So there's a bit of that. It was funny that they teased out the Vomero lineup while you were there, like that. I don't know whether it was took a bit away. Like a lot of the media chat was about it that I saw, like popping up on my algorithm, was about Vomero and Vomero Plus and Vomero Premium. They basically like almost lifted the embargo on that, and so everyone just started posting about it, and I was reading tons of that. So it's a good way to get attention there when all the media is sort of over there focusing on Nike. That was pretty clever.
Moose, Nike probably wouldn't admit about them maybe not being the leaders of innovation and technology anymore. Because I know some of your questions around the shoes were like, hey, other brands are doing this now. Nike haven't really changed, and maybe they are falling a little bit behind some of the other brands.
Yeah, there's definitely a new foam on the market now that we're seeing come through in some of these other shoes. So the Puma Fast R Nitro, like they had that, the Fast R3, they had that big like promotional thing or like marketing around the study that was conducted, where the guy who conducted the Nike study back in the day for the Vaporfly, he was the author of this study, and he found that the Puma using the same protocol was a better like produced better results than a Vaporfly and the Alpha Fly as well. So yes, there's potentially foams out there now that are sort of as good or better than the Zoom X Nike are using. The concept, the Alpha Fly 3 is still looks different to everything else out there, and I think it is the fact that it has an airbag in it. Airbags are like they're the only ones using those airbags, and they can do more things than foam can, I reckon. Be interesting to see where they go from here. I think Nike there is a bit of a turn point coming up where we need to see something spectacular again.
I asked Elliot that though. You'll hear about that later in the week. He kind of says exactly what you're saying. Like, well, they've got foam and air that they can work with, whereas the other brands are just working with the foam.
Yeah, and plates.
Plates, yeah.
And plate, like in the foams make a massive difference. Like I've been running a pair of shoes from a different brand with a new foam, and they make a huge difference. Like if you get the perfect blend of softness with response, like nothing. There's a lot of heavier shoes out there now as well that I think people are starting to feel a bit clunky in, and there's a lot of weird geometries in the super shoe area, like that feel really awkward. And yeah, I always say it. There's a massive opening for the 3.5 hour super shoe out there. Someone make that.
The last thing on that Faith Kipyegon attempt that it's hard to kind of measure, but I'd love to know like the pressure on her. Like when you're the like I know Breaking4, like they had 3 guys the first time. Kipchoge did it solo when he did go 159 with Ineos, but like the amount of pressure on one individual and the hype that came with it. And I know you can't do these challenges without having the hype that comes with it. I just thought she looked like tense a bit on the start line and like just her run throughs. I don't know, like I could be reading way too much in it, but she must have. Hopefully, she had like support in place because that's a whole lot of pressure to put on one individual.
I thought I could see her sort of like shaking on the start line, like her arm. You know, you get those nervous sort of shakes. Thought I could see a bit of that, but
yeah, maybe we're seeing something that wasn't there. But
maybe,
yeah. All right, let's get on with the show. Moose, take us through your week. What have you been doing? If you're listening, the chances are you're gearing up for a race. But how dialed in is your race day nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration makes it simple with a free online planner to calculate your carb, sodium and fluid needs for peak performance. Their product, like the 90-gram resealable gel, helps you hit your numbers with ease. That's why legends like 4-time Olympian Lisa Waitman and ultra runner Hayden Hawks trust them too. Head to the link in the show notes to create your personalised strategy and then use code IR-Spring 2025 for 15% off your first order. Or if you're a Patreon supporter, grab your exclusive 20% off discount code from our member-only episodes. Time to level up your performance. Click the link now. Now back to the episode. You're fit? You did a pacemaking test, didn't you? Get ready for your big job this weekend?
Little bit of that. Got on the track. First time. Landy Field got relayed in December or finished in December, and I hadn't run on it until this Friday. So that was actually really cool. Brand spanking new. Well, not brand new, but pretty close to brand new track. That was real nice. Let me just jump on. So Monday, pretty sure I had a day off Monday. No, I did run. So ran 10K. Then Tuesday morning, we had our Faith Mile. Going to do some more Faith, boys. Back on the Faith. So we ran a handicap mile down at Landy Field, which was cool. Like Geelong Athletics looked after me, gave me the keys to the light box. So I had the lights on at 6:30, opened the gate barriers, opened the power up, got a coffee truck in and pastries, local cafe, dropped the pastries off, juices. This really cool setup. Like it was done quite well. Kudos to the team that put it together. Running company helped by Nike. Each athlete, each runner had their own like bib, Faith Breaking4 bib that came in, and handicapped, self-seated. So people put down what they thought they'd run for a mile, and we sort of set them off at certain times. It was pretty well paced, like seated, to be honest. Everyone did pretty well. Like I reckon everyone came in within 30 seconds, which is pretty hard when you've got rec runners. Some of them are going all out and some of them like it's their first crack at anything quicker than a 5K. So that was early on Tuesday. I had to get there at 6, and that's like 45 minutes away.
Yeah, I messaged you at like 4:30 a.m. this day, I reckon, in the group chat. Maybe 4:45, and you responded. I think I was writing back to like Jordan Donnelly and Chris O on European time.
Yeah.
Man, you were just joining in at 4:50 a.m.
So honestly, that night I had a block of sleep from 10:30 to 1 a.m. Then Pia woke up and she was awake for an hour, and I had moved to her bed because she come in our bed and she was coughing, and I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here. So I went to her bed and woke up at 4:30. So that was 2 to 4:30. That's 2.5 hours. That's what my night of sleep looked like. And so I was cooked. And so I ran with Molly and Maddie from Nike in that morning after the event finished. I just ran, and my heart rate was so high, like it was, and I was feeling very puffed. So I thought, oh, there's something going wrong here. And it could be the lack of sleep, but I've never really suffered from that before. Even though I've like had bad sleep, I've never had this sort of issue. So like that, my average heart rate on this run was 139, and I averaged 447s. And I was like, took some big breaks in between this as well. So I thought, oh, this is not good. if I wanted to go through my normal doctor, it's like 2 weeks to get into him to get like a referral for a script for a blood test. So I went on Instant Scripts, it's called. Like it's like an online doctor service, and you can pretty much just buy a blood test referral off there, and so I did that, and I got in and got the blood test that afternoon, and it gets sent back to the Instant Scripts doctors, and then the results became available to me 2 days after I had the test, and I can like they just send me the results and I can see the numbers, and I'm not a doctor, but I was just looking at the ferritin. Everything else was in a normal range. Ferritin was good. It was at like 120 or something. So by that stage, I'd come good again with my running, and my heart rate had gone down. But it's just a service out there that's like, I'm not going to advise people to use online doctors, but when you've got something niche like this, when you just need a blood test, and you kind of know what you're looking for in terms of the ferritin. Like this is what I was looking at. I was just looking at the iron studies. So if there was anything further, then obviously I would go and go through proper doctors and get stuff chased up. But it was really handy for me just to sort of get that peace of mind doing this. But that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I jumped on the treadmill and did a moose fartlek on the treadmill. And I set this up in my watch so I could just, it would just beep at me. My heart rate was so much better on this, and I was running paces on the treadie that I would normally be running slower. So I felt like I was right back here. There's no real data to give you here, except I did take my lactate at the end of this just to get an idea. And it was at, I think it was at 2.4. which is pretty good for this workout. Like I would have expected it to be much higher. But my max heart rate, like I didn't get that high with the heart rate or anything, just only towards the end. So that sort of gave me confidence that I was back on track and my body was going all right again. Next day, I jogged. What did I do? Just jogged outside, and then I think I only did 6K maybe. Oh no, I jogged. I can't even remember what I did. But then Friday I went out did this like, I had a meeting in the morning. I was doing a showing to a clinic, like met up with the Geelong Foot Clinic, and chatted shoes with them for an hour or so. And I didn't get a chance to run before that. So then I headed down at 2:00 to the track. It was a real awkward time. Too close to lunch. I still had lunch sitting in my belly, and it just wasn't ideal, but the weather was good, and jogged a little bit to warm up. Then I came back, and this was a pacing thing. So I wanted to try to dial in the pace that I would be working at next week on the Gold Coast, which is about 3:25 pace. But I did it on the track for two reasons. I wanted to just get the right rhythm so I could be really even with my running, and I was taking splits. Like I was looking at the watch every 200 meters. And I also had the lactate monitor out just to give me a little bit of an idea about how realistic 30K would be, like 30K or more for this pace. And so 3:25 pace is 82s, and 3:20 pace was 80s. And on the track, I don't know if you boys ever run that slow on the track. Like it's a bit awkward.
I do these days.
Yeah, have you though? Have you really?
No, I have. I've done like 400s off 30 seconds recovery at that sort of pace.
At that pace.
Go to the Paris tracks, Croaks.
If you're running 70.
Yeah. I don't know if I have moves.
There's something about the track that doesn't feel right running like threshold pace, which is pretty much what this was, maybe a little bit easier. So I'm out there and I'm like clicking the laps off. I'm like, oh, I just feel like going. And I was having to hold myself back, and I thought this feels pretty good. One thing, taking your own lactate in between reps is not a clean process. And there's a lot of sweat, and like it was very, like I had to ripping open the lactate strip packets. It ain't great. And I've sort of had them there, and then they blew away on one of the reps. I'm like, oh, this is just so much more trouble than it's worth. And it fucks with your mind a bit. So the first one I took, I'm like, shit, the lactate's really high. I'm going terribly. Like, I'll never be able to do this pace job. The second one was even higher. I'm like, God, I feel good, but my body's telling me I'm not. Like, and then the third one, 2.2. I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Like, I'm not too bad here. Actually, I'm pretty good. I'm feeling good. And then the last one, I got an error because all of them had blown away, and I was grabbing random ones and trying to. So it made me think, just put that shit away. Like, you felt good.
We'll get up to Ballarat for a bit of professional development, Moose.
Yeah, they
In
had
the
it
lab.
up there. No, you need someone to do it for you, Moose.
Yeah, it's
Haven't you
pretty
got someone
fucking
you
different.
can-
I'll tell you what, it's very different when you're
Here he
sitting
goes.
in a treadmill with like four
I just
people.
stick my finger out. Damn, it was easy.
I prefer the earlobe doing it to other people, actually.
Well, they kept doing it to the same finger. I'm like, I've got 5 of these things on this hand. Surely we can mix it up a bit.
Yeah, but often, Brady, if they do a really good job the first time, it'll continue to bleed throughout the whole test.
Yeah, only if it's
Mine used to always just continue. They used to just tape it up between reps, take the tape off, and then squeeze it, and blood would come out.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, they gave me a little tissue to hold while I was like running on the treadmill for the next 4 minutes, and then it would dry up. I'd throw the tissue away, and then would go again.
Yeah, this it was very cold out here. I think it was feels like 5 degrees. So there wasn't much blood in the tips of my fingers. But that wasn't the issue. Anyway, I hit the splits.
It's stupid though, isn't it? Like, where are we at with running? Can't we just all this equipment, you got these lactate tests and monitor things, like we're taking away the basic bitch kind of stuff, which running should be, I feel.
I know. We're getting caught up, aren't we?
It gave you confidence though, Moose? You're good for 35K?
Yeah, but you see the weather? Fucking humidity through the roof.
Is it? Hang on. He's fucking had to go at me so many times, this bloke, about complaining about Gold Coast Marathon. I always say it's hot and humid. Oh, it's only 18 degrees and 90% humidity. It's not that bad. What's it meant to be? Sunday. It's too early. It's only Monday. Why are you looking at that already?
It's always humid up.
He's
It's always humid
panicking,
up there.
folks. He's panicking.
No. They better be changing this fucking pace at the front. I'll be having a word to those agents.
They never do. It's always the day before. The girls always want to go faster.
I know.
Remember last year, Brady?
Last year, that girl telling us.
You go the whole way. You go the whole way for me.
What, she bailed you up in the meeting room?
Yeah, afterwards.
Oh,
She was trying to flirt with me. That's what was going on.
Well, yeah, there won't be any of that happen, I can tell you. Yeah, no, we've talked about it before, but Meteo Pace, the app that I got.
Yeah, is this mob paying you? Because I saw it on your Instagram stories today and your Strava. I'm like, he's become an ambassador for this group.
No, I'm not.
I've got the app on my phone as well.
It's fucking good. It's great. It's so insightful. And if anyone wants to park their ego and run to conditions, this is how you do it. You get told which direction the wind's coming from. Okay, you can get a few seconds down this leg of the road. You can be under pace there. And then as you turn around, you should probably pace it to be a bit slower on the way back. Or this or that, whatever it is, where the hills are at, it'll tell you this hill's 10 meters up for the K, probably back off 6 seconds here. That's how you do it.
Moose will be running Ed Goddard style on Sunday, phone in the hand. Let me just check the app.
I got to
slow it down here.
I'll have an earpiece in, and I'll have the man on the side with the app open telling me 6 seconds. Every K will be back off 6 seconons. And all the girls will kind of trust me.
Pacing doesn't work like that. They're very black and white. Get to these timing mats in this time.
Yeah.
You get a 15-second window, don't you, Croaks?
Oh, I think it's I thought it was 30 seconds either side.
Remember the good old days when me and you got it 1 second off what we needed to at halfway?
No girls around you, though.
Masterpiece, yeah. We dropped everyone. So what, the weather at the moment, yeah, this ain't looking good. 14 degrees at start time for you. And humidity of 94%.
Oh, that's dropped a bit. It was saying
this is Google. I don't know where you're checking it. Different.
Well, it was saying 17 on the start line.
Chance of
99.
rain too, I think.
Yeah, it's like
Sunday's
a cyclone.
30% chance of rain.
Seeing a big cyclone type thing hanging off the coast there, because all the surf accounts I'm following are talking about it. So there's a bit going on with the weather up north. Next day, jumped on the treadie in the morning, and then also in the morning, got out, walked the dog, ran the dog, whatever. Long run Sunday morning. So we did 26K. We met down at Point Road Night, which is a beach down here. The surf was pumping. So we got there at like 7:15, 7:20, and the car park's full. So I didn't really work that out too well. Ran fairly hilly run considering I'm a week out from the race. I do have some quad DOMs today, which is a sign that it was a solid run. They're not bad, but they're just like got that tenderness about them. We ran 26K, average 4:27, 430 meters. Decent group. I think how many of us were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, something like that. And went in for a swim afterwards, and the water is quite sharp right now. Like very, very cold. The take your breath away, like panic type cold.
No wetsuit post run either.
No, not for,
Straight
no
in
one's
the running
put
shorts.
the running shorts. 6, 7 very skinny, unhealthy looking boys, black shorts. Like it's not an impressive sight. Like not a good representation of the sporting the sport we do.
Have you officially been subbed out, Crooks?
Yeah, I'm out.
Who are you working with now then, Moose? They replaced him? Or
Yes,
unreplaceable?
they have Fraser Darcy. So he was second at Ballarat, I think.
Yeah, he ran 2:17 or 2:18, didn't he? Ballarat.
Yeah, so he's now the leader of the pacing pack up front.
Good for you, Moose. Good for you. No pressure now.
Very good for me. All I do now is just like follow him, sit on him. He's my pacer.
It's good you're gonna have some company.
Yeah, he's strong enough where this will be super easy for him. And I did talk to Ryan, the guy who organises the pacing and the elite coordinator, about the specifics of it, because it's a bit ambiguous, like the whole role. Like you get for each 5K split that comes up, you sort of got adjustments to your payment if you're off 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and even if like the women are with you behind, you still get penalized if they're not up to task. Like if they're not on the pace, and what's the point in the pace? Like that's the bit I don't quite get.
No, we were always told that so the race briefing says paces are going to go through halfway in 72 minutes, but there was always an understanding that if the girls don't go with you, there's no point you going off and running 72 minutes and leaving them. So you need to just make a call out on the road. But if they're there with you, then you're expected to go through halfway in 72 minutes. And like you won't lose pay if the girls decide to just not go with you and you just run with them. You still get paid.
Well, you're there for the lead women. You're not there for that time group.
It's 72 flat.
Yeah.
But traditionally, like the girls have always gone with the pace.
Yeah.
Especially
at least
for the first half.
At least till 20K or 21K, and then often they've started to fade after that. I remember pacing for those first few years actually got easier because they were on pace for halfway, and then after that they all just slowed down, and so it was like, oh, pacing's getting easier for us now because we're running slower than we were at 15K.
Has anyone ever run off on you ahead of you?
No.
We've got a year like a faster. Oh no, that was at Sydney. One of the girls that year that you were in the lead pack, Moose. It was really hot.
Yeah.
And they didn't go with the pace, and their instructions to us are like just keep the lead pack together for as long as possible. Yeah. And then I think I pulled at 32K that year, and 30K, one of the girls just like came out of the pack, got on our heels, and just said like faster. And I'm like, all right, so now we can start running. I think we had to run 3:20s that day.
Yeah.
And I was stoked there was only 2K left but then we ended up running like a 3:12, and she just blew the whole pack to pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's pretty far down the road though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So That's exciting. See you you'll be on the stream, front and centre. You figured out what you're going to wear? Get a bit of the running company Geelong branding in there?
Got a singlet. They're just not the best. They're like a team singlet. They're like a training singlet. Just not sure whether it's that breathable. Like, do I want to go the best breathable singlet, or do I want to go something with a bit of logo on it? What do you reckon?
Listeners, if you're up there at the Gold Coast, give him a cheer. He might be in the hurt locker, I reckon. Anywhere after 25K.
Oh, yeah.
Give him a big cheer and encourage him. He's got to get some cash.
Just remind him about the coin that he's going to get every 5K. Another bit of coin.
That is not the motivation at all. The motivation is not being embarrassed by dropping out before at least 25K. The motivation is embarrassment.
If you go to 25, though, you may as well go to 30 because it gets you back to your bag.
It's not a matter
of pretty much. Well, hey, you've got to get back anyway. What are you going to jog 5K on tired legs?
Yeah, but the thing is, if he's all out and he's basically run a 25K race, he can't run another 5K.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Like, I'm not stopping at 25 if I can keep going.
I think you'll be right, Moose.
Yeah, I think so too.
Adrenaline will get you up. You know the course has changed. You go over that first bridge, then you take a left out to SeaWorld.
Oh, same as last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They changed it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot you jumped on course last year.
A bit late though. I got on at the 6-7K mark.
Don't want you taking a wrong turn for the lead pack. All right, Croaks, what have you been doing? Did you not run towards the end of the week or you stop uploading stuff?
No, I didn't run. I had a bit of a mixed week again. So Monday I did just over 10.5K at 4:36s because I'd had the weekend. I didn't run Saturday and the Sunday because I was still just not feeling right. Like I was still having sort of hot, cold fevers during the day and stuff like that. So my first run since the Friday before was, the Monday. So 4:36s. I physically felt okay. You know, when you've come off a sickness and your chest is just a little bit tight in terms of you just can't breathe in quite as deep as you normally would. So I thought, look, I'm not ready for a session yet, so I'll jog again on the Tuesday. So I jumped on the treadmill, listened to the UK Monthly boys, did 65 minutes, 4:48, feeling a fair bit better. Heart rate's still like a bit high for that sort of pace, but that's to be expected, I suppose, after a couple of weeks of not a lot of running. Then on Wednesday, I thought, all right, I'll jump on, do a session. So did 5 by 6 minutes, 1 minute rest. These were all at 17K an hour or just over 3:30s. Biomechanically and physically, I felt okay. But every time I got off the treadmill, that same sort of thing where it's like you take a deep breath in and you're just not quite getting as much air as you would if you're like 100%. Heart rate was okay. Like it was under 170, but probably 5 beats higher than it would have been, like ideally. And then I went to the gym that afternoon. Thursday, got out for the same loop that I did on the Monday. Ran 4:29s for this loop. So it's 7 seconds a K faster, but heart rate was like 8 beats lower. And this was definitely the turning point in terms of I could breathe like properly now. So that was a good turn from, between Monday and Thursday. Then Friday, I decided to do another session again because I know we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago where like doing these treadmill sessions, like you pull up fairly well from them and you can almost like do 3 of these a week. So I thought, I'll do this on the Friday rather than do it Saturday because I had some stuff on. So I did 10 by a K, minute rest, 17.5K an hour or like 3:26s. And I was umming and ahhing how many of these I was going to do. Like I almost stopped at 8, but I'm like, I could do another 6 of these. So like I'll do 10. But the problem was coming off, I guess, 2 weeks of not a lot of running, then doing a session on Wednesday and also getting back into the gym. Like I did have some DOMs in my like calves. And then as I was cooling down, maybe 10 minutes in, I noticed that my Achilles on my good Achilles was just getting a little bit like niggly. So got through the cool down and then I decided to take the weekend off because I had like a bit of crepitus like in the sheath of the tendon. So it's not a major injury, but it's obviously just getting back into running, adding gym. Anytime I have DOMs in my calves, I often do get some ankle or Achilles like tendonitis stuff. So I didn't run Saturday, didn't run Sunday. I did go to the gym Sunday morning, bumped into Dick Telford actually. He was there. He's so Dick's 80 and he's in the gym pumping iron, doing the hip flexor machine, absolute gun. So I didn't run on the weekend. So it was a week of 70K. I did 35 minutes or so today. Achilles was feeling like way better than it was. So I'm probably not going to do a session like tomorrow. I'll probably just jog till later in the week. It's been a frustrating month. I sort of was building some good momentum. Then the flu like knocked me on my ass, and then getting back into it. Often when you've had that time off, then loading things, you get a few niggles. So it's sort of one step forward, one step back at the moment. But motivation's high. Like I'm really keen to get in and get fit, but just probably need to take a big step back and just build up slowly again. I was chatting to Moose actually off air last week, and looking back at my Strava for the last 6 months, I've had 8 weeks in total where I've run more than 100K. 8 weeks out of 6 months. So 8 out of 26. And it's like, you're sort of kidding yourself if you think you're going to run well off that. So I need to just get myself healthy, get some mileage under the belt, string together 8 weeks in a row of 100K a week.
Yeah, it's only 30%.
It's poor. And sometimes you sort of trick yourself thinking you're going okay, because it's like, I haven't been on the sidelines for months. I've been running every week, but it's just not doing enough. I'm not running enough to warrant racing or being as fit as I think I should be or want to be.
Yeah, but you've had an injury and you've had sickness. Like there's reasons for you not doing that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And that's why like making the call not to do the pacing, it's like, it's a no-brainer really. It's like I need to just prioritize getting healthy.
Yeah.
So now do you need like say 2 weeks of just like easy jogging before you put in sessions?
Yeah, maybe a week, and then just 2 sessions a week. And, like looking back at last week, rather than running 330s for those 6-minute reps, should have probably been 5 seconds a K slower, 335s. And so just take a step back where rather than have the heart rate in that like 165, which is probably at the higher end of where I need to be, have it at 160. And so the sessions are even more comfortable than although the sessions are comfortable, make them even more comfortable and focus on running 100 to 120K a week.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like you look at the next month. So 4 weeks, what's the minimum you want to be able to run? Say 100K a week for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like that success criteria. And it doesn't matter if you got workouts, if you got long runs or whatever, but you just want to be able to do 4 weeks of 100K.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anything that's going to put that at risk, you cut out. So it's like, well, don't go banging out a 2.5 hour long run, or roll the last 5K if you're long run at 3:55 pace.
Yeah, and do 8 by a K instead of 10.
Do 6 and keep the pace exactly the same.
Yeah.
Do 4 by 5 minutes as your workouts. Like, yeah, are you chasing fitness or consistency or speed or threshold? But you're just chasing consistency.
Consistent volume is what I need over the next 6 months.
Yeah. So then you can remain injury free for that next 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks, and Patreon supporters. Going to go first, Moose?
Yep, I'll go first. I'm just trying to get across to my... Yep. I got Sean Byard from Brisbane. The Strava bio says he's a dad, a carpet layer, and he runs when he can. He's run 17:07 at the Kedron Parkrun, 37:13 at the 2019 Bridge to Brisbane 10K event, 82:56 for the recent half marathon time trial, and 3:17 at last year's Gold Coast Marathon. Pretty sure he's training for Gold Coast again, marathon, and based on that recent half marathon, he's on track for a very big PB.
Yeah, that was a time trial, Moose, 82:56.
Oh yeah, where at?
I don't know, just around the suburbs. I think it was like a bit of an out and back loop.
Yeah, okay.
Here's one for you though, boys. So PB is 3:17 for Sean. Do you aim for sub 3 and take off 17 minutes? Because the half probably indicates he can.
Yeah,
Definitely
82
does.
But do you get too? But then, do you get too greedy?
No.
Blows up, runs 3:15. Or
Look
does he just go
at
out there
all
and
these
try run?
PBs.
Does he just try go out there and run a smart 3:05 and then chase sub 3 next time?
Look, based on his 17:07 park run, if he's done the work to I guess transfer that half marathon fitness to the marathon, he should be able to run under 3 hours.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Send it, Sean. Send it.
Get it done.
The good luck. Can you let us know how you go? And if you're at the live show, come up and tell us what the result was that morning. Who you got, Krogs?
I got Mac Lorden back. So Mac's from Canberra. He's run 15:51 at the Burley Griffin Park Run. According to Strava, his best 10K was 34:06 en route to a 47-minute City to Surf run. He ran 74 minutes to win last year's Bay to Bridge half in Bateman's Bay and has run 2:59 at the 2023 Sydney Marathon. His Strava profile pic is a selfie of him and Seth O'Donnell. I know Mac quite well. I've known him for a long time, and his PBs, although they're quite quick, he's very, very talented and can run a hell of a lot quicker. He just struggles with injuries, so he's had quite a few Achilles issues. And Brady, you would recognise him as the guy who made a couple of signs up for you down in Ballarat. One of those being "Relax your jaw."
Yes, I do. I've got it on my Strava. He had that on the side of the road, Pleasant Street. Thoroughly enjoyed seeing Mac's work.
I met him down there on the side of the road. I think I took the photo and sent it through to the group.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, Mac. I think he works for Catapult, like a sports analysis company, like athlete tracking. You know how the footy players wear the GPS things and monitor load and stuff like that. But he's a great guy, Mac. So yeah, thanks for your support and all the best with your running. Hopefully you can get injury free and he's a sub 15-minute 5K guy if he can get fit and string together training.
Thanks, Mac, for your support. I'm going to thank Beck DeKwoski from Melbourne and possibly a run to PB athlete. You're correct, Croaks. Sammy McLean coaches Beck. According to Strava, Beck has run 21:52 for 5K, a time trial around the Olympic Park Donut, 44:39 for 10K, 1:39 at the 2017 run at Melbourne Half Marathon, and 3:35 at the 2019 Chicago Marathon. We think she might get this title, boys. We should have like an honour list of some of the most impressive titles out of our Patreon supporters. She is a senior associate and patent attorney at Minter Elson. Patent's like people stealing your ideas, isn't it?
Like trademarks and stuff. Copyrights, that sort of thing.
Should have got her involved when we started the podcast. Said, hey, I don't want to hear any more training weeks from any other running podcast out there. That could have come in real handy.
Except the Marathon Talk crew would have been right.
They never did Monday to Sunday. They just did their workouts. They just did their workouts for the week.
All right.
I've looked into it.
You know, I was thinking about them today, Marathon Talk.
I was thinking about them too. Was it the same reason? Why were you thinking about them?
400 episodes.
Yeah, I had to Google what they were at. I'm like, are we past them now?
No, they were at 1,000, I think.
No, I don't think it was that many.
Oh, I think it was up there.
I think it was like 520 or 600. Like, we got them in sight moose.
It was 10 years, though. I remember they had a 10-year anniversary show.
Yeah, well, we've been 8, haven't we? 6? 8?
We're 8. We're 8 in November.
We're hunting them down, moose.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they're in our sights.
Yeah,
I don't have the exact number, but I did Google it and I did look that we didn't have them covered, but they weren't too far away.
Well, they refreshed it after World Marathon took them over. They
shouldn't have. No. World Marathon Majors bought it out, I reckon.
Yeah.
Have you listened to it since?
No.
Nah, neither. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters for supporting us. We don't get to 400 episodes without our Patreon supporters. I can guarantee that. If you want to support us for as little as $5 a month, so if you think our content that we put out for a month is worth $5, what's that, boys? Half a beer, maybe a coffee. If you think a month's worth of Inside Running Podcast is worth $5, you can sign up at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. If bonus content you think as well, we've got a level of support for that. If you do want to listen to any of our bonus content and just want to purchase it as a one-off purchase, you can also do that as well. So if you're into the UK boys or you want to hear a bit of I don't know, what are the other shows? Bit of the monthly. We'll talk to those boys coming up soon. You can buy that. I think one episode's like $3 or something like that. So that option is there as well. Runner news with thanks to Axel Coffee, our race results partner, and the secret to starting every run on the right foot. Nothing beats a good coffee before hitting the pavement. Take me to the Diamond League, not the Diamond League, the Golden Spike, Moose.
Golden Spike in Ostrava. That's in the Czech Republic, if you didn't know, Brady.
I do now.
It looks like we had athletes in the 15 and the 800. Looks like males only. In the 1500, Cam Myers finished 4th in 3:29.89 to become the third Aussie of all time. So huge run from Cam. Also huge run from Jude Thomas, who ran 7th, 3:32.07, world champs qualifier and 7th Aussie all time. So what did you call Jude? The prince that was promised or something like that?
Yeah.
He's coming. He's coming for the title.
Yeah, but it doesn't help that the younger prince is also 3 seconds in front of him.
You can have a few princes, one king, a few princes.
Yeah. Is the younger one the king? Can you be a king when you're only 18 years old?
Yeah, you can. You can for sure. Use a bit of time to learn the position, but you can be a king, and I think he is the king at the moment. No one from Australia is more king-like than him as we speak. This was in a race won by...
You're probably right, aren't you? It took me a while to think. I'm just like, I think you've got it.
Yeah, I think he's moved on. I think we moved on from... Like, you know when Ollie won the Com Games? That was big. That's when he probably took over there. And I reckon Cam's probably taken over from him in the men's 1500 department.
No, I think men. We're talking men 800 through to the marathon. Is he the king?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I suppose Pete Bowl was 4th at the Olympics.
It was a long time ago, Croaks. If we were to have the, and I know he just did run a new national record over the weekend, which we'll get to, but if we had the World Championships today or tomorrow, which Aussie from 800 to the marathon would you think would finish highest up? You have to say Cam, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. Because I think the men's 800s moved on as well. So, like, although Pete was 4th, like, the guys are running 141, 142s.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them. So, yeah, I think so.
He could be the king.
Cam is the closest to the top. He would be the closest to the medal, I reckon, at the moment in the Olympics. If the Olympics were next week, I would be picking Cam.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations, Cam Myers, newly crowned king of Australian men's distance running, track and field. Just track, not field.
Yeah.
Don't come at me with your field stuff.
The race, though, it was won by Fanwell Coech, 3:29.05, Isaac Nader, 2nd, 3:29.37, and Josh Hoey, 3:29.75. So that is a tight pack. That was a blanket finish almost. In the 800 metres, Pete Bowl won in 1:43.8.
Yeah, I think that's his first race since getting over to Europe, because I know he was back here in Australia. So not a bad run, first run off the plane.
That was national record, wasn't it?
I didn't see that being a national.
No, I didn't see that either.
I swear I read that somewhere. Yeah, I was a bit jet lagged.
I didn't see much media about it, if that's the case.
No, because it didn't have season's best or anything up there. Like, it was having he's run 1:43.79.
79.
Oh, pretty close though.
Close. Yeah.
Pretty close.
100th of a second off.
Yeah.
So you're right. So Brady, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You are wrong. It's not national.
It was a solid run off the plane.
Yeah, it was.
He's missed his national record by 0.100th of a second.
Just on that 1500, like I think Cam has a big one in him, because you look at the last few races, and so he finished 2nd to that Diamond League behind Habs from France. That Habs went on to run a 3:27. I can't remember which meet that was. And that Faneuil Coech ran 3:27 or 3:28 as well. And so, here's Cam running against Faneuil Coech. It's only 0.8 of a second behind him. So in the right race, I think Cam does have a 3:27, 3:28 in him. And I wouldn't be surprised, like this weekend, running the Bowman mile, he'll break the Aussie record, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a good prediction from you.
Well, because so Ollie holds the outdoor mile record, but that time is the exact same as Cam's indoor mile time. But I reckon after Bowman, Cam will have outright fastest mile ever by an Aussie.
Yeah. Sandown Relays.
You mean Prefontaine?
Prefontaine.
Yeah,
what do you say?
Prefontaine. Yeah, the Bowman mile at Prefontaine.
Oh, it's called the Bowman. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did you see Bill Tallinger died?
Yeah. 92. I think it's 92.
Yeah.
Do you explain who he was, Moose, for the listeners who don't know?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was an Olympian. He won bronze, I think, at Tokyo Olympics in the
64
in the 5K. He was the understudy of Bill Bowman at Oregon University of Oregon. He was like the coach there for a long time. He actually coached Scott Nicholas. He's been a guest on the podcast. Guy who taught me about shoes. He came up with the Dallinger Web, I think it was, and that was Adidas. So it was a bit of a controversy there because obviously Bowman was Nike co-founder, and Dallinger went to Adidas and had a partnership there and created some shoes, that kind of thing. But yeah, I actually met Bill Dallinger at his house in 2019 when I went to the US. We would have recapped it on a show. So yeah, it would be cool to go back and hear that because it was his house is just full of history, like some of the.
You took photos and stuff too, didn't you? Was it like cedar or like wooden? I just got it like wooden bench top or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what's coming into my mind. Yeah.
It's like walking into a museum there. It's pretty cool. I don't remember if his Olympic medal was there or not. But yeah, he played a huge role in like Prefontaine's success. He was the coach of he was like an assistant coach. I think he spent most of the time coaching like on the ground. He was an assistant to Bowman at the time when Prefontaine was running.
Well, according to the movie, he was basically went and sort of recruited Pre.
Yeah, I think he played a fair part, like hands-on. A lot of the head coaches there, like Bowman might have, again, like a head coach has to take care of all the different athletes, everyone on the athletic team, whereas an assistant coach focusing on the distance might just be like on the ground, taking the splits, setting the cones, talking to the athletes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, good recap. How'd you say, 91?
I think it's 92.
92. Yeah, okay. Sandown Relays also happened in Victoria. Western A's got the win, 151.59. They have won every round this year, plus 4 rounds to end last year. They've won 9 races in a row. So dominant. Bendigo Bats are back though, boys. They were second, 152.51. Ballarat third, 153.22. Fastest time. Now, this is a bit controversial. So Ed Marks is now our boy, Croaks, because we had him on the show.
He's my boy.
He's your boy?
I got him.
I've got a lot of time for Ed. He's a great guy.
But Andy Buchanan, when he was coming up through the ranks, like we always had the underdog as our boy. But because Andy's broken through now, do we cut him off being our boy and it's just Ed Marks is our new boy? With Clayton Young and Connor Mance, of course. Like we've got to get a list going. Like, who are our boys?
I think it goes to show, though, how hard it is to, one, get to the top, but actually, like, stay there because there's always somebody nipping at your heels.
Yeah, okay. So he beat Andy Buchanan by 15 seconds, ran a course record for Sandown Moose.
Oh, really?
There you go. That's what I said in the recap video. I wasn't there, but I watched the recap video.
For this...
17:20 for 6.2K.
But that's interesting, though, because it used to go the other way, the other direction. So your course record for this direction or course record full stop, like 2 laps of this track, regardless of the direction?
Not sure. Didn't explain that in the video. Ben Chamberlain was third fastest, 17:59. The women's, Sandringham got the win. They have 5 runners. So some of these times sound similar to the men's, but it's 1 runner less. 153.40. Box Hill second, 155.12. Geelong Pussycats in third, 159.28.
Here we go. That's
How they go? They're going all right on the ladders?
Yeah, they're going well. The
going
Pussycats are holding us up here. They're the team we're all getting behind. We show up for them now.
Good. Fastest time was Donve Vilijen. She ran at 20.57. Catherine Dowey was second fastest in 21.12, and Charlotte Wilson was third in 21.26. Weather was perfect, it said on the video, which isn't always the case at Sandown Relays, but good to hear. Sydney Marathon had an announcement, Croaks.
Yeah, so they have announced the women's elite field. So there's 7 sub 220 runners. Safan Hassan has been announced. So she's a 2:13.44 runner, current Olympic marathon champ and the third fastest marathoner ever. Bridget Kosgei has also been announced. So she's run 2:14.04, former world record holder, and has won Chicago and London twice. Ashedi Bakiri, 2:17.58. Won the 2019 Berlin Marathon and 2024 Rotterdam Marathon. Worknesh Adisa, 2:17 runner, defending champ from Sydney and third at the 2023 Tokyo Marathon. And Messeret Beledi is a 2:18 runner. She won this year's Chicago Half and also this year's Daegu Marathon. Top Aussies on the announcement, Jess Stenson, Lisa Waitman, and Leanne Pompiani. Exciting news, boys.
Yeah, this is so. Just quickly, Leanne's given up her spot for Sarah Klein, which that was announced during the week as well. So I don't know how Tara Palm didn't get that spot because Tara Palm was higher on the ranking list. Remember we spoke about that when it came through as a bit of a whisper a few weeks ago.
I think though, if Izzy pulls out of World Champs of the marathon because she's qualified for the 10K, then I think Tara might get added then.
Yeah, but shouldn't Tara get the first go at it though, if she was higher in the ranking points?
Well, I still think it comes down to selectors. Like Australia have a certain amount of spots.
Selectors' discretion. And because both those ladies were in the 100 or whatever the number was, the spots are unlocked. So
who's got the quickest? Who's got the quickest PB out of them? Who's got the better international record out of them?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is Safan Hassan Sydney Marathon. This is huge news. Nike were loving it over there because they got the two headliners at Sydney Marathon, Ali Kipchoge and Safan Hassan.
We were having a chat a while back about what international runner would you travel to go and watch? Like it might have been down to the Maury plant meet or whatever. And I reckon Safan Hassan's name came up. Like this got me excited because I'll be up there that weekend. We've booked accommodation. And so to see her out on the streets of Sydney is awesome.
Coming up now, Croaks.
Yeah, I'm up. We're up for the family's coming up.
You weren't going to come up, mate.
Whole family. We're actually we've got an Airbnb. We are right on the course. So actually our balcony, we can go down on the balcony and watch the race.
How many rooms you got? Because Zachary and I are still looking at accommodation.
Not enough with
spare couch.
Kids.
Zach has got us doing about 37 different gigs up there for the.
Aren't you pacey, mate? Or have you been booted now that Safan Hassan's coming? You won't be able to go fast enough.
2:13.44. Yeah, I'll pace her down. I'll pace her across the bridge at the start.
She would be so hard to imagine pacing her too, with how erratic she is and unpredictable. That would be the worst job ever.
Yeah, do they need someone for the third pack? They don't. She's not going to run 2:13 at Sydney. So yeah, there's been a couple of messages back and forth. But what about the head-to-head? The Jess Stenson, Lisa Waitman, Leanne Pompiani. That's $30,000. One of them's taken home, and they're three very good marathoners.
Yeah, that'll be so good to watch. Do we got any word on Leanne?
Well, she's doing the half this weekend, and she's actually in an altitude house here. That's one thing I was chatting to Dick about on Sundays. They've built a new altitude house at the AIS at the old residence. And they've got like 24 athletes in there at the moment, just sort of testing it out before they sort of open it up to the different sporting groups. So she has had niggles recently. Like she wasn't able to compete down at Launceston, but based on what I saw on Strava, she's back running pretty well again.
Okay.
Jess racing this weekend as well, so we'll get to see some current shape for Jess. We'll speak to her.
Yep.
And And then, this is going to be big. It's coming around quick, isn't it? Like 9 weeks, 8 weeks this weekend.
Yeah,
something like that.
It is coming quick.
Too quick for Moose.
This week he's doing a 30K tempo run. He's gonna be the page turner for Moose.
Yeah, but the problem was when I was having that chat with Moose about my last 6 months of having like 8 weeks over 100K, Moose is pretty much in the same boat.
I'm just going in with momentum, Croaks. That's the difference. I'm on the up here.
True, you are on the up.
Those results brought to you by Axel Coffee. Don't forget, Inside Running Podcast listeners, you get 20% off your first order when you order online. Use the code IRP20. Start your day right with Axel Coffee. No whispers, fellas. Got nothing.
That's all right. I'm sure
nothing
you learn over there. No gossip on the plane around the Nike tents or anything like that?
No, not really. So those Vomero shoes coming out soon? I thought, well, did I get a sneak look at that? They're not under embargo anymore. Could give you a whisper about that.
Vomero Plus is August. That's what you've got. So you've got that. Shoe. Not many have that.
Yeah.
Bree's got a pair of those. Loves them.
So that's Zoom X whole bottom shoe.
Correct.
Yeah. No React foam, just fully Zoom X, and it's huge. But then the other one I tried on, that Vomero Premium, that is full Zoom X and an air bubble.
2 airbags.
2 airbags, yeah. You feel like you're about 20 centimetres taller when you put them on.
Connor Mance calls it the anti-gravity shoe.
They said that in the little interview I did, that he loves wearing them, and he compares it to being on the Ultra G. Yeah,
that is how I want it. That's how you sell a shoe to me. Give me an anti-gravity shoe.
Nah, but my response was like, it's getting too far. Like it's just so ridiculously cushioned, bouncy, stack height. Like it's gone way too far to what an old jogging shoe used to be.
Don't wear it then, mate. Don't wear it.
I guess that's innovation, but like you put it on, you're like, this is ridiculous. As in like ridiculously good.
Have you seen what people are doing out there to help recover? And do you like jumping in ice baths, saunas, these Normatec boots?
Just put the shoe on.
All the drugs and supplements. The shoe is just another element to that.
Yeah, I'm saying that. It's just like where we have come from is crazy. Like you talk to people over there and I'm like, oh, how long have you been running for? And they're like, oh, I started running 18 months ago. I'm like, oh, you don't know that you're living in the golden era. Yeah. The accessibility you have to amazing footwear, you don't know how good you've got it.
Yeah.
Like, what an era to live in when these shoes are just getting pumped out like this.
Well, it leads.
But no, I didn't get. Oh, did Stewie tell me what races he got coming up? Don't think so.
I got a whisper on Seth O'Donnell races.
Well, you got something.
Yeah. So
Seth is very heavily featured in this segment every week.
So upcoming events: 2nd of July, a 5,000 meter race in Norway at the Boysen Memorial. Potentially going to run on the 12th of July at the more Golden Spawn meeting in Belgium, and the 19th of July, Night of Athletics in Belgium. They're all World Athletics Continental Tour bronze meets.
Where's that come from, Croaks?
It's come from Track Athletes. So there's this website, Track Athletes, and you can sort of follow athletes, and then it will give you what races they're down to do.
I like that.
Oh, that website's good, isn't it? Yeah, those guys, they messaged me just after they finished building it.
Yeah, so a guy
guy
that runs Ath Stats on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he sent it through to me. So, he does a great job. It's Angus.
So you've searched Seth, and those races have come up before he's announced it.
Yeah, he so Angus sent me the link for Seth. Actually, I'll send it through to you guys now.
Type Moose's name out in there. What else have you got coming up after Gold? Does it say Gold Coast Pacing Job 30 to 35K?
No.
I actually have something huge coming up, but I can't drop it yet.
It's not 2019, Brady.
Something huge coming up.
I'll tell you off air.
I think I already know about it.
No, you probably do.
Do I?
I'll tell you about it.
Is it something in September?
Yeah, later on in the year.
Yeah, I was telling people in Paris about it, Moose.
Oh, good.
People are like, what are you got coming up? I'm like, nah, nothing but my co-host. He's got this coming up.
All right. It did.
Yeah, I think
this shoe chat, though, led me to the Moose on the Loose, so I'll get into that because you'll like this. This is actually hilarious. Like, this is a funny story, but at the same time, it's ridiculous. So a guy comes in the store the other day. He goes, yeah, I've got... I said, oh, how can I help? He goes, yeah, I'm in the market for a new pair of shoes. I've got this Achilles injury. Got Sydney Marathon coming up. It's like 10 weeks away or whatever. That's when it was. He goes, I really just need something to get me through to the race, try to look after this Achilles. So I asked him a bunch of questions about his previous footwear, what he's wearing, what's his training look like, where does he run, all these things. Have a look at him on the treadie. Take his foot size, shape, check out what socks he's got going on. Maybe suggest that the cotton bond socks aren't going to cut it if he's going to run a marathon. So chuck him a pair of try-ons. Hey, try these ones out for the fitting. Roll through about 7 pairs of shoes. Throughout this entire fitting, I'm talking to him about his training and just maybe give him a little bit of advice here or there about the Sydney course. Chat to him about the Sydney course, like, oh, you got to have to deal with this and that. Get down to it. Found a shoe that looks after his Achilles real well. He runs on the treadie with it. He goes, these are fucking awesome. I love them. I'm like, cool. That's this shoe. Costs this much. See you up at the counter. He goes, oh, nah. I'm just going to go home, do my research first.
Yeah, buy them online.
Your research.
Yeah.
I've literally taken you through like 8 shoes that could work for you, and you've experienced all of them. I've told you everything you need to know about fucking running for your particular level right now. Like, I've given you my heart for 45 minutes. I gave you my fucking soul, and you've told me I don't know enough. So you're going to go home, type this shit into Google, and try and find more credible information than I just gave you. Sitting in a store with someone who's done this for fucking 15 years, have multiple shoe stores, like, have a passion for it, have a podcast about it, spoken at podiatry conferences about it, been to all the major shoe companies' fucking design labs, have conversations with like the engineers of the shoes on a daily basis, but this bloke's got to do his research.
So Moose,
this is the prop. You go, Crux, and I got something.
How did you respond? Did you respond Moose, the business owner, or Moose, the angry podcaster?
I said this on Monday night.
I said, what questions do you have about the shoe? I'll answer them right now. Like, what's your research going to look like? And I'll try to answer any question you have. Oh, yeah, I don't know. You know, it's
couldn't get out of the store fast enough.
Exactly. And I thought, how am I ever going to win? How is the local store ever going to win if it can't better the service that I just gave?
And Moose is like, shit, I'm going to have to run to 35K this weekend and get the sale.
That extra $500.
That is rough. That is a rough day. You know what? I drove home. And it's a 45-minute drive home, and I'm driving home going, what more do I do? I don't get it. Like, sometimes I just feel fucking defeated. And I'm sure you have a bad day in class and the kids run all over you and you drive home and you think, what am I doing?
Every Thursday and Friday.
Most days.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but Moose, he doesn't know those things about you. So this is, remember 6 months ago I said you need a big digital sign when you walk in the store. Who would you want to be served by? The guy that goes to conferences, the guy who went to the World Champs, the guy who come third Aussie at Sydney Marathon. Like, he just thinks you're a uni student, mature age student, studying arts at Deakin Uni around the corner, and you know stuff all about running.
Nah, it's
because this is the industry. You guys are cooked because you get compared to other shoe stores when it's just 18-year-old kids putting a pair of Keanos on. So the reputation of shoe sellers, you got to pump up your tires more.
If I
introduce the customers to the stuff,
I had 40 minutes with him. I had 40 minutes.
He thinks you're a shit kicker.
Nah.
He's like, I'll get these cheaper offline. Did you have those glasses on when you were in store?
Of course I do. I can't see without them.
He looks like an art student, doesn't he? People can't see this, but that's what. Get the glasses off. Get the Australian singlet not in your storeroom. Put it up in the store. Big photo of you. got to get some credibility about you.
I'm going to.
You've got to express it. You've got to get it to them.
I'm going to roll a second one here though, because this is the double. This happened 2 days ago. Or no, was it Friday? Bree was in there. It wasn't even me. I wasn't there. Bree was there. Guy comes in and goes, my wife's running a marathon. Again, Sydney. Everyone's doing Sydney. It's good, very cool. She's never taken gels. Can you tell me about the gels? So Bree runs through every gel, like how much you should probably be taking, how to test them out the best, like protocol for trialing what might work, what might not, have some products to try to take beforehand, and like just pretty much how to carry them as well. They chatted through how to carry them best on the course if you're going to do this. And he grabs like one of a few things, maybe like 4 gels and a drink mix and a packet of electrolytes. And he goes, oh, it's so good you guys are here to get this advice, because I'll get these ones today and then I'll just get the rest online. And he said that. So he said it's so good.
Online on your store or not?
No. He said he laughed after it, like he'd made a joke, but then he obviously saw Bree's face and was like, "Oh, that's probably not a funny joke to tell to the person who owns the store." But that's like he made reference to the store being so good to help people, and then he also made reference to, but after I get the information from you, I'll just go and buy shit elsewhere. I won't support you ongoing. It just blows me away that like there's just not an understanding of how businesses survive, how small business survives. Like
what? Yeah. Could you make people like book an appointment?
We do book appointments.
You know what I mean? Like how do you, because yes, you're selling the product, but how do you monetize selling your expertise?
Yeah, well, no, that we don't do that. Like that's the.
I know, but you're like, you should be able to like book a nutrition consult and you go through the gels.
Yeah, it's just a long-term model of just having the expertise, meaning that hopefully we last a long time in business and we get consistent return customers who have had a great experience in the store. But these are 2 examples of probably 200 customers that came through over a few days. So I'm not complaining that this is the industry and what it's like. I'm complaining against these 2 particular customers. And that first one is one that I've met, like the research they're doing is probably watching the TikTok stuff that I've complained about the last 6 months. Every episode I saw some dickhead who started running 6 months ago and now he's telling everyone what shoes they should wear. That's the research that's getting compared to. And here's him in the store trying 7 shoes on, using his own mind to design something. So I'm not having a go at what's going on here. I'm having a go at these particular things. And I thought it would be a funny story. And you laughed.
It was a funny story.
It's
not funny. I kind of feel sad for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's pretty demoralizing.
I'm trying to come up with solutions. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, how do we fix this?
Nah, afterwards, I like walk out the back and it's like, what can you do other than laugh when that happens to you? You just laugh at it.
At least when we get walked over by the students, Brady, we walk out the door and still get paid.
That's true.
A good point.
That's true. It doesn't affect our pay rate for the day.
That is a good point.
Yes. Bring the show home, Croaks. Listener question.
Yep. So this episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. And this question came in a while ago, and I thought for our 400th show, it would be fitting. So the question is not a running one, but how did you guys meet and get this podcast started? And that's from Ollie Newsham.
I feel like whenever I go on another podcast, they always ask me this question.
I was going to say,
question whenever I go onto anyone else's podcast.
My answer would have been that. Go and listen to one of the 1,000 interviews Brady's done on another running podcast.
Yeah, it is a very common question, which I do forget that sometimes people don't know it from the start. So I can take you back there. So I knew Moose and I used to run for Geelong together, just used to win premierships together. So I knew Moose long before I knew Croaks. He was much nicer back in the day too, Croaks. I once had to clean up my Facebook. So like, when you like get a teaching job and you got to go back and like delete maybe some inappropriate. And he used to like comment. I used to have like a photo of like winning a race. He'd be like, "Great run, Brady. You always run so well."
That is
stuff
so
like
not, that is not.
No, there's some stuff on there. I remember seeing you like always deliver on race day, things like that in the comments. Remember when you used to use?
But this was when he was like a 2 hour 40 marathon. I looked up to you, Brady.
Yeah.
So pretty much I've tried to find two guys who I was better than over the marathon to start a podcast with, and it backfired. So then Croaks and I met at the Gold Coast one year. Have I told you this story, Moose?
Towed you up.
I'll tell you this story.
Tell me.
Croaks and I are doing Gold Coast half marathon. We go through the first K in like 3:10, and then I turn to him and I'm just like, hey, mate, just relax, stay at this pace. We'll end up beating like 20 of these guys in front of us. We both had absolute shockers, ran like 67:45. He out-sprinted me in like the last 100 metres. We did not catch one of the people in front of us. Like we faded massively. So then we cooled down together. So I met Croaks there. And then to answer Ollie's question, I started another podcast, which was called Tell Me Your Tales, back in like 2016, I'm going to say, maybe 2017, where I used to just interview different individuals every week and just like hear stories about them. And they weren't always runners. Moose, I think, was on episode number 3. You were on like episode number 8 or something, Croaks. A lot of them turned into being runners because I knew a lot of runners. And then a part of that turned into, we were all doing Berlin Marathon in 2017. And I said to the boys, do you want to do a Road to Berlin Marathon show? It's going to come out every week on Tell Me Your Tales. We did that. The downloads were much higher on the Road to Berlin stuff than they were the other stuff. So obviously a bit of an appetite there from the listeners. Heaps of people said we should do it as a weekly podcast. So we created Inside Running Podcast not long after that. And the rest is history. Tell Me Your Tales died a slow death. I tried to keep it going for a while there. But there's still, you can still go listen to those episodes and listen to that Road to Berlin series in 2017 if you like. Moose come out and had a blinder. Ran what, 2:18, Moose?
Yeah, 2:18. Fucking looked after this podcast, I tell you.
2:18?
Really? 2:18.
What do you mean looked after it?
Oh, well, mate, like you would have still
performance-wise
would have been plebs still talking about running.
Yeah,
but then about 5 months later, I had the fastest PB on the show.
For a while too. You held it for a while.
Yeah, Croaks then went to Biwa, ran 2:17. I remember that was like the greatest run of all time when you ran 2:17. I remember being up that afternoon telling Benny Walker, I'm like, he ran 2:17. What? 2:17? Yeah. I could not believe it.
And then Moose got me later that year in Berlin, ran 2:16.
2:16. And then he went 2:14 at Biwa.
First time I met Moose, well, obviously, so we raced each other. Like I didn't know Moose at the time, but 2015 at the Vic 5K champs, Moose and Nick Earl ran past me down the home straight.
No, it was earlier than that, mate.
No, it wasn't. It was real late because it was the second in it.
Do you know, before that race, though, Simon Hurt come up to me and goes, there's a bloke in here in this race I fucking hate and I want you to beat. His name's Brad Croker. And I said, oh, righto. He's like, he fucked some blokes. He fucked one of my mates' missus back in the day. And I want you to beat him. And that's all he cared about. And I'm like,
that's because I heard he couldn't beat me himself. But then I didn't meet you in person. Like it wasn't until we actually got to Berlin, standing outside the Brandenburg gates on the shakeout run on the day before.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I met you in person.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that run actually. That was that
trying on your new shoes, weren't you? Was that? Oh no, was that the year after? Did you get the 4% that year?
We ran in the
we ran in the 4% that year.
Yeah, the 4%. But then you got the flying at 4% the year after.
Next year. But Croaks wasn't there that year.
No, I wasn't that year.
No.
Yeah. So that's it. That's a story, and we've 400 consecutive weekly episodes since whatever date that was.
Brady, I was listening to the Patreon member. I'm not sure who was it. What was her name?
Yeah, Nadia.
Nadia put together this 20-minute package of some of the highlights of the show over the last 400 episodes. And your introduction on episode 1 said, once every fortnight, we're going to sit down and talk about our road to the Berlin. Was it the Berlin?
Yeah. Were we doing that fortnightly, were we?
No, we're doing it weekly. I thought it was like a 10-week series. And then remember we had the partners on one episode as well. Yeah. But I thought it was more around episode 1 of this show. It's like, oh, don't worry, I'll be continuing. Tell me your. Oh no, was that before the road to Berlin? You said, oh, don't worry, tell me your tales will still be happening. This is not going to replace that.
Yeah, you did say that, and I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't true.
Yeah, Well, one was a bit more profitable than the other one, for starters, and they've got a few more download numbers. But the good thing is, Tell Me a Tale's turned into Bat Chat, which is some of the greatest podcasting you've ever listened to. The story of how the Bendigo Bats went from Division 3 to Premier Division and won the flag. So it's still living there. Might bring it back one day. Just too boring, though. The only people I can talk to are runners, and I'm like, well, I may as well talk to runners on Inside Running. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that's answered your question, Ollie. Hopefully we're here for another 400 episodes. And that audio that Nadia has put together, we will release because she's done a brilliant job. She's found some stuff. I fully forgot about some of those funny stories. So I had a massive laugh when I listened to those ones.
Only thing that's missing, and I would love for a listener to find it, is when Brady said Warwick instead of Warwick.
It doesn't exist. I cut it before I published it. That's why she couldn't find it. And Warwick. I think she went deep.
Amazing, Warwick.
Yeah, I remember stuffing that one up. And yeah, I remember you weren't there, Croaks. Ali was filling in for you, I reckon. Or Ali was filling in for Moose.
Do you remember who it actually was?
Yeah, Warwick.
Warwick, do you remember?
Oh, no, not the last name.
You could I can find this. I'll be able to.
So I thought I found it today, episode 70.
Yeah, it would have been you'd be able to find the show notes, but you won't be able to find the audio.
Did you really cut it?
Yeah, because I'd already embarrassed myself with that penguin and fish shit from the episodes before that. I'm like, I'm going to get rid of these mistakes. But she does document about 30 other words that we said wrong over the years as well.
Actually went to the aquarium the other day, and I was telling Pierre, I'm like, you know Brady, our friend Brady.
I didn't. I read it on Google. Listen to the audio.
He thinks these animals, these birds over here, that they're actually fish. He tried to tell me one day they were fish.
I read it off AI. AI was still getting worked out then.
But Pierre said, oh, look, Dad, it's swimming. It's a fish.
Yeah. You know, when I put the Instagram story up saying, I've got one question with Eliud Kipchoge, give me something to ask him. And I said to the Nike people, I've said 90% of these will be stupid responses, just stupid questions. And about 35% of them were ask him, is a penguin a fish? People didn't write that in, which I thought was pretty funny. And I didn't want to explain that to the people I was on the trip with. Thank you to Precision Fuel and Hydration. Visit precisionhydration.com and use the code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order. Did you see Precision sponsor that guy who just won Western States too, Moose?
Yeah, and Dan Jones finished 5th, I think.
Oh, did he? Yeah. Did you see the guy who won? Did you see that kit he was wearing?
Yeah, the Nike trail kit. So
with all the all the cutouts of it?
Yeah, Chris, my mate, he put that on when he went to the headquarters maybe a month ago, and he said I'll tell you, I'll read what he said.
It looks like a fashion thing. It should have been on Paris Fashion Week.
He said it channels air. It makes it feel like a fan is blowing on you. He said crazy how effective it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. Yeah, it looked really cool. Did you also see that Backyard Ultra record went down as well, talking about crazy stuff?
We definitely need to talk about that.
I've got it, actually. I think I've Googled it before because I'm like, we need to. So Phil Gore.
Yeah.
Did he have the record already? Or not? He's very good. He's very good at these things. So he had to cover 6.7K every hour. If you're not familiar what a Backyard Ultra is, he did 119 loops. He broke the previous record by 3 loops. So that means he covered, how many kilometers is that? 797.3 kilometers. How many days was he out there for?
5 days.
And so didn't sleep, because you wouldn't be able to sleep.
No, you can sleep 10 minutes sort of thing.
Depends how long it takes you to do the 6.7K loop.
So his last one, he ran in 33 minutes. That's after 5 days. He ran 800 kilometers and hasn't slept for 5 nights, 5 days properly. And he covered the last one in 33 minutes. And the only reason, I think they're not allowed to start the next round by themselves. So someone else has to start with them. They call that the assist to get their last round or whatever. So he could have quite easily kept going and going and going if there was others around him.
So you can only do one more than the person that comes second.
I think you're just not allowed to head out by yourself, so that someone has to start.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would feel sorry
because the guy collapsed, didn't he? The guy who was going with him.
Yeah, I think
he
a lot of people
halfway around the course. It's pretty crazy. They did one in Echuca a couple of months ago. I went and watched it. I went down, took Hudson down at night time. They started at midday, and I took him down 6 p.m. because it got dark real early. And it was a festive atmosphere. Everyone's got torches on. Everyone's having good fun. It was the first loop they did in the night. And I went down to where all their tents are set up. It was I drove away going, I'm going to do that next year. That looks really fun. Then I went down there at 6 a.m. the next morning for my long run. There's 6 people left. Most of them are cooked. Most of the tents are packed up, and the atmosphere was completely different. If you survived the night, you were doing really well. Met Pato. He's a patron supporter. He wore our singlet for one of the laps when I went down there and saw him. The patron, the Ernie old singlet.
Yep.
So it's a different world, and
the lack of sleep would kill me, and I would feel sorry for my support crew because me on no sleep, I would just be the grumpiest prick ever.
Yeah. Yeah, different world. So that's crazy. Good that the Australians got that record. What's coming up? Super Blast 2 drop. Moose. Carly said she put her name down for this. She signed up or something?
Did she? Yeah, well, there's she signed up to our mailing list, and that's good of her because she'll get all the information in the future. But we'll give you some info on the Super Blast 2, and we might even look after some people on our mailing list so you don't have to go hunt around on the day, see who's got stock left, jump on ASICs super early. Better off just supporting a local store. So we'll sort you out on the day if you like.
When do they come out?
The 3rd, Thursday. So we're going to, I think, I'm not sure exactly what time it is, but we got a mailing list now. And if you want to get on that, then you sort of can sort yourself out with some more communication between me and you.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I think she thinks she signed up to get a pair.
Well, she will get a pair. I'm telling you that. I'm just telling you that on the day we'll sort her out with a pair.
Came home yesterday to a few boxes of ASIC shoes. We allowed to talk about those yet?
Can't talk about them. Not yet.
Okay. Gold Coast Marathon is coming up, and we've got some elite fields as well. Going to go to the men's first. Just one Australian on this elite field. Is there, Croaks? We got Reece Edwards.
Yeah.
Alex Harvey's run as well. What time have you got to run to be on the elite field? Because there's 2:14?
Yeah.
Didn't get in on it. That's rough. Being an Aussie and not get.
He ain't 2:14.
Is he 2:15? Still, put him on the elite poster if you're Australian.
So. I would think so, yeah.
There's 10 sub 209 runners. So the quickest guy, 2:07.15. So he's the winner from the 2023 Paris Marathon. Gizalu Ayana.
Here's the headliner there. Japanese-Canadian. Thomas Brotach. Haven't heard of him before. 2:10 guy, though. That Josh Oweski, he comes out every year as well. He often runs Gold Coast. Women's field, also opening up that as we speak.
Yeah. Rhoda Tanui, winner from 2019 and 23 with a PB of 2:23.
That's your girl, Moose. You'll be pacing her. But Caroline Carrell, she's got the fastest PB, 2:22.34.
Yeah, she won Boston in 2011 and was the silver medalist at the 2024 Glasgow Commonwealth Games.
Okay.
She's been around running marathons for a while, 2011.
I think, there's a mistake there. Glasgow was 2014, not 2024. That's when Jess got the bronze, didn't she?
Yeah.
Jess got the bronze at Glasgow.
Millie Clark, top seed Australian, 2:26.59. Rochelle Damasi is there, who also went to the World Champs with you in 2019. Moose for the marathon, 2:34.45. Alan McCartney, she was on the road to Ballarat, never ended up racing. 2:38.43, the other Australian on that elite field. Men's half marathon field is hot. But there's got a bit of chat about it over in Tokyo. Why does Andy Buchanan get the top line over Brett Robinson? And I had to explain because he's defending champ. Defending champ takes precedence over PBs. Leanne Pompiani in the women's, Jess Denton, Tara Palm. I'll ask Tara about that world champ thing on the weekend. Caitlin Adams, Sarah Klein. Oh yeah, so what happens if Tara smacks up Sarah Klein over a half marathon?
Wow.
Anyone else in the men's field? I haven't got that.
Isaac Hayne, Liam Booten, Sam Clifford. Tommy DeCanto.
Tommy. Yeah, okay.
And what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 5 Japanese guys, all between 60.29 and 60.56.
Okay. Good. Should be a good race out there. Prefontaine's coming up. So we got Cam and who else?
Ollie in the Bowman Mile.
Got Jess.
Yeah, Adam Spencer's in the International Mile, along with that Sam Ruth from New Zealand and Sam Tanner. What else have we got? Yeah, women's 1500. We've got Faith Kipyegon, who is attacking her own world record of 3:49. So I heard in an interview, Brady, based on her splits for the mile, that she's confident of being able to break that PB or world record.
It's got to have a good training effect at least, doesn't it? That she smacked like a really strong 1,300 metres.
Yeah, and she would have gone through 1,500 metres pretty close to her world record anyway, I'm guessing. Yeah, but in that 1,500, you've got, Jess Hull, as you mentioned, Teji, Shelby Houlihan, Nikki Hiltz, Sarah Healy, Frioni Halu, Ejore. Yeah. And also a couple of distance events. So I've got a feeling that maybe the men's 10K could be like some sort of trial for Kenya and Ethiopia, or maybe Kenya and Ethiopia. So you got Aragawi, Barega, Gebra Wet. So there's a few names in that 10K. And the women's 5K, you've got Beatrice Chibet, Medina Isa, Sege. Yeah, so that could also be a pretty quick race and might also be like a trial for Ethiopia and Kenya for the 5K world champs.
Good stuff to watch over the weekend. We'll be at the live show thanks to Lululemon. 1:30 to 3. Got that right, don't I?
Think so.
Sunday Arvo. QT. I think there's like 30 tickets left of 450. So if you haven't got a ticket, get one. Also, though, because it's a free event, some people don't rock up. So if you haven't got a ticket, just keep an eye on. Actually, I've got to be careful what I say here. Keep an eye on our Instagram stories on the Sunday afternoon, and I'll post if there's some free seats. That's not getting anyone in trouble. What else is coming up in your life, boys, between now and next week? Oh, we'll see you. I'll see you on the – when do you got, Croaks?
Wednesday.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're going up for a week, family holiday.
When are you up, Moose?
Friday night. Yeah, so not great for me. I'm up. I'll be up. I'll get dinner with you Friday night if you want.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait, no, you're racing the next morning.
I'm racing Saturday. I'm not. I don't know how much I'm racing.
Yeah.
I might, We'll see what happens. See how I feel over between now and next week.
When do you get up, Brady?
Friday lunchtime. So, yeah. Actually, I think Collingwood's playing Friday night. We should go watch that somewhere, Moose. Collingwood Carlton.
I could think of better things to do, mate.
Have a couple of beers, watch the Pies smack Carlton. The end of this week, we've got this Paris app. So I was really trying not to give away all my content when Croaks asked me questions before, but Zachary and I are working on a special Paris app. These are the people that are going to feature on it, boys. Elliot Kipchoge, Faith Kipyegon, Patrick Sang's going to come in, Brett Kirby, he's a scientist. We've got some audio of him. Elliot Heath, got some real big audio. So, Zachary and I got some ideas. Stay tuned to that towards the end of the week. We'll do it all again Sunday, Arvo, in front of a live crowd. Thanks for tuning in for 400 episodes. We've also got to put that audio from Nadia out, so keep an eye on that between now and the weekend as well. All right. And we've got to put Shoe Geeks out to the public too, Moose. It's the end of June. I've got to put the June episode out.
Oh, it's not out.
Nah, well, we had all this other stuff going on. Yeah, so there's audio coming out of my ears. All right, boys. See you later.
Right. See ya.
Want to make your next race day the best one yet? Well, dialing in your nutrition strategy is one of the most effective ways you can do that. Luckily, our show sponsor, Precision Fuel and Hydration, offers you the chance to do this in the most effective way possible. Book a free consultation with their team to fine-tune your fueling plans. Emphasis here on you, as they offer tailored advice based on your circumstances and the race you're taking on. They're there to help you achieve your goals all year long, and as mentioned, this service is free of charge and a great opportunity to ask them any questions you may have about fueling and hydrating for your race. No question is too daft for them. We've loved Precision for a long while, and this free service is another reason why. Use the link in the show notes and use code IR-SPRING2025 for 15% off your first order and start smashing those goals today.